Hi everybody and welcome to another video. So today I will be talking to you about my experience in our suite on board Britannia during our Caribbean cruise. So I'll be talking through sort of the whole overview of the cabin, the space, the storage, the butler, the location of where our suite was. So I hope you enjoy, and you never know, you might be booking one yourself. I just want to start by saying we were very fortunate to be able to stay in a suite. This is not something that will happen probably again. So when we booked it, we really were excited and we really made the most of it, because not every day do you stay in a suite on a cruise ship. So yeah, we were very lucky. So first things first, when you book a suite, you do get extra benefits when you book, because you are booking a very high standard of cabin. You then, because it's again very pricey, you get the extras with it that do make it worth it. So I'll list a couple that we did sort of use and we actually did take advantage of, but there'll be a full list on the P&O website about when booking a suite what benefits you get, because we didn't use all of them. So the first one is probably the biggest and most obvious one is you get a butler, and I will be talking more about our butler in a bit, but you do get a butler who will essentially do anything for you, and they will happily do anything and everything for you. So that's one of the benefits that you get. Second is you get daily canapes, and that can be some crisps. We did request crisps quite fairly into the cruise, because we realised that there were some things that not all of us liked in terms of what the canapes were. So we were like, can we just have a bowl of crisps while we're getting ready to go out for dinner? So our butler brought us 2 bowls of, I think they tasted like the ready salted kettle chips, or they were definitely kettle chips. So we got daily canapes. We got other days we got goat cheese on it was like sourdough bread, like tiny little like canapes of cheese and bread. We got ratatouille again on like a sourdough bread. We got chocolate covered strawberries on one of the formal nights, which I think they do just do that on the formal nights, because obviously it's a celebration and it is you know, black tie, so they want the nice chocolate covered strawberries to go with it. You also get, you just get a bigger cabin. You get a bath and a shower. You get all of those benefits inside the actual cabin. You get daily fruit, so you can request. On the first day they ask what fruit you want rather than just giving you a bowl. So we requested peaches, grapes, apples, bananas, and I think that was it. I think we did request oranges one day, but the next day I think our butler realised that none of us ate them, so he didn't give us any more, which was fine because we didn't eat any of the oranges. For cruises from Southampton, you do also get priority boarding and check-in, so you can arrive, it's usually around 12:30, but because we were obviously doing a fly cruise, we just arrived when everyone else arrived on the plane, so there was no point for that really. But that's a good one from Southampton. And you also get complimentary room service, so that's all included. And you get a good thing as well, is we really liked this, is you get breakfast in the Epicurean restaurant. So only suite guests can go in there and have breakfast. It's similar to the main dining room, but I feel like there's extra care taken and an extra bit of service, because they know who they're serving essentially. It's not like a class thing, I don't want to go into that, it's really not, but because people have paid for a suite, you get to have just that quiet morning just to yourself, and there's not many people in there, so that's really nice. As you can see from the Caribbean vlogs that I did, we went in there twice, and both times we had a lovely time. It was really nice. I had the French toast, delicious both times. You could have a full English, you could have poached egg, you could have anything. I'm literally trying to think of anything that they didn't do, like within reason. Like they didn't do like pancakes, but they sort of substituted that for the French toast, like they had that. You could have muesli, yogurt, like it was almost like a cocktail glass full of fruit. You could have that. It was delicious, it was really nice. So there are a lot of benefits that do come with booking a suite. There's also sort of just the main things about actually booking a suite, which is just literally the cabin itself, because it's big. You've got extra space, extra storage, you've got like a bigger bathroom, you've got extra balcony space, you just have to think about the actual amount of space, extra space that you've got when you're booking it. And that's what I'm going to now talk about. So when you're on holiday, when you're cruising, you always think about where you're going to store luggage, where you're going to put all your clothes, all your toiletries, all your makeup, your bags, your shoes. Sometimes there is a struggle on a cruise ship because yes, there's not a lot of storage space, and I do know that from my fair share of cruises. There's always a bit of a struggle with, well, certainly with the amount of things I bring. I'm starting to try and cut back, but you're on a cruise, so I don't ever think I want to cut back. But in a suite, again, you'll see it on my vlogs. The amount of storage and space you get is amazing. You get, even for the three of us, there was 3 of us in the suite, and there was so much room. We could fit all 3 suitcases in one wardrobe, and we had extra, like, still loads of space for the clothes, the dresses, all the hangers. That was amazing. We had, in total, I think we had 4 wardrobes. So we each had one, and then we had one which I think had like all of our sun cream and that sort of stuff in, that was for all of us to use. And there was loads of drawers, so I think my mum and sister used most of the drawers because they were right close to their beds, and I used the wardrobe that was round opposite the toilet, opposite the bathroom. But there was so much space, it was amazing. And there was no like, oh, we're gonna have to put the suitcase under the bed, because that's what we used to do, or that's what we usually do in a normal cabin. But you could literally, you could have left the 3 suitcases out in the middle of the stateroom, and you'd still have loads of room left. So that was amazing. So there was so much space, there's so much storage. And it helps if you're cruising from Southampton as well, because I mean, we were limited with how many cases we could bring and the weight limit due to the flight. But if you are cruising from Southampton, you don't have that limit of how many cases you can bring, so that would help, because if you bring loads of stuff on, you can store it all. There's also just so much space to sit around, or if you've got people over, like we had my dad and my brother from another cabin that came over and sort of came and sat with us if we were having room service, or if they were ready before us, they'd come and sit on the sofa while we were all getting ready, and there was still enough room. So there's enough room, there's so much so that you can definitely have like parties and gatherings there, and I think they encourage that. They do, like, if you booked a suite, they do say, oh, you know, have like a cocktail party, or have like a pre-dinner party. That's where the canapes come in, and all the extra glasses and champagne glasses come in, and the champagne that you got when you came in with your cabin, which is another benefit. You get chocolates and champagne. We didn't even drink the champagne because we're not big drinkers. So that was just wasted on us. But we did eat the chocolates. I think they went pretty quick, maybe even in the first night. But yeah, there's a lot of space. And for those of you who have cruised before, if maybe someone's trying to do their hair and makeup and they're in like the main area where the bed is, sometimes it's a bit difficult for the other person to try and get past because there's not a lot of room. It's quite narrow. But no, there was so much room in our suite, and yeah, it was just so nice to chill and knowing that you've got the room there if we needed it, which we didn't really stay in our cabin loads, because obviously we were there for the cruise, like for the ports and everything, and we wanted to do a lot while we can. But it was nice going back, the 3 of us going back, and if we all wanted to go to bed at the same time and all wanted to like do what we needed to do, like if I needed to brush my teeth or my sister needed the loo, we could do that at the same time because of the Jack and Jill bathroom. So there's so much room, and there's just so much space. So definitely utilise that if you're staying in a suite, because you probably won't get that again. So next I want to talk about our butler. So our butler was called Santosh. He was outstanding. He was so lovely. He was so welcoming. He was so, like, you know, ask me any questions. How was your day? What did you do? What are you planning to do tomorrow? He had so many tips. He was amazing with advice. He told us that he's been on board cruise ships or worked for P&O for 22 years, I want to say, 20 years, 22 years. But yeah, so he had so much knowledge. He'd been to the Caribbean for like 20 years, so he knew basically everything about everything. So we were asking him for advice, we were asking him what to do, where to go, like any good food places, any good shops. He was like, yep, I've got this and this, definitely go there. He was very good about giving us advice on some ports that maybe were known for its theft and things like that. So he was very good saying like, don't take any more money than you need to, only take a small bag, or if you're taking a backpack, put it to the front of you. He was so good like that, and yeah, he was just amazing giving us advice. When we arrived as well, I think we'd been in our cabin for about an hour, I think this was just before we went to dinner, or it was just after we went to dinner actually, I think. I can't remember. But he obviously knew that we'd arrived because he knocked on our door. It was the first evening. We were all exhausted, we were all tired, but we were so like excited. He introduced himself. We obviously introduced ourselves. We're very much like, we're a family that we will talk to them like a friend and an actual human being, because I know some guests don't treat people like that on cruises, which is disappointing and sad. But we treated him like he was just a friend. We were like, hey Santos, come on in, like, you know, come and have a drink or whatever. He obviously didn't, but we welcomed him in. He spoke to us about the Epicurean, what time we can go there for breakfast. Canapes are delivered between 4:30 and 5:30. God, he said so much to us, I can't even remember now. Just everything. Like, we asked for ice and he was like, I will get you ice, and we were like, can we have some ice every day? And he was like, I will get you ice every day. He spoke to us about the coffee machine, which we didn't even end up using. He spoke to us about, he asked us when it's best for him or the steward to come in and change my bed to like essentially turn down service, which suite guests still currently have. I know in standard cabins there's no turn down service, which I didn't really care about anyway, because it's just literally someone putting a chocolate on your pillow and then leaving. But they still do that for suite guests, and he had to come in anyway to change my bed because it was obviously a sofa bed in the daytime. But he would always come in and he would always check and be like, what time are you going out tonight? So he knows not to like disturb us. But no, he was just fantastic, and there was nothing that he was like, oh no, I can't do that. It was amazing. He also got us, so going back to the canapes, he was really good with dietary needs. So my mum is lactose free, so she can't, basically dairy free, she can't have anything dairy. So Santosh would always come in with canapes that were normal, like cheese and things like that, and then he'd come with a separate tray for mum, and it would be labelled dairy free or lactose free, so she was also included in that. And he did it every day, even if it was just sometimes 2 bowls of crisps. We were loving that because mum could eat them. He also assisted with the disembarkation process. So when you do a fly cruise, there's a bit of a process when you disembark, because they give you like the luggage tags for the flight, they give you the boarding passes, they make sure you've done your immigration properly. So he talked us through the whole process and made us feel really sort of comfortable and happy with it, and so we knew what we were doing. But yeah, he would always ask if you're okay, he would always ask if there's anything he can do, and he just couldn't have done enough really. He was amazing. So thank you very much, Santosh. If you're watching this, you were amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So I now want to talk to you about where our suite was on the ship. So if you've booked a P&O cruise before, if you've booked a cruise before, you know that there are different standards depending on where you're located. So for example, if you're in the middle of the ship, you'll have a more expensive cabin, because in the middle of the ship you're less likely to feel any vibrations, you're less likely to be seasick because you don't feel the movement of the ship as much if the ship was to move a bit more than normal. So our cabin was actually right at the front, as you know, because that beautiful window is right in front. But our cabin was right at the front. We were on deck 9, which is F deck, and there were times, honestly, that we did feel a lot of vibrations. There was quite a lot of noise in the morning because we were just above where like the thrusters were, and where when you dock at a port, those ropes sort of come off and then we get roped up. So that mechanism, it was literally a really loud noise at like 6 AM. We'd just be like doo, doo, and it would be like that. Like it was quite loud, but that would only happen for about 5 minutes because they needed to take them down to rope us up for us to be able to hang about at the dock. So that is something to look out for if you're thinking about location. If you're wanting to go at the front, it's definitely I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely beautiful to go at the front of the ship, but just bear in mind that sometimes you can hear noises. There'll be the thrusters noise, there'll be not loud noises, but noises coming from below where the crew are just coming out, obviously to get all the ropes out and everything. So we did hear a bit of noise. It wasn't too bad for us because we were awake at 6 a.m. most mornings, which is when the noise started, so we sort of got ahead of it and we were already awake by the time they would start making the noises. But other than that, it was amazing. We didn't feel any rough seas, anything like that, because obviously when you're at the front you're meant to feel it more. We didn't feel anything. We didn't get seasick once. There was no issues with that in terms of movement of the actual ship. But I always say just think about where you want to be on the ship. If you're at the back, you'll probably get similar vibrations and noises to what we had at the front, because there will be obviously thrusters at the front and the back, as well as the ropes at the front and the back. So you might get that noise at the back as well. But we didn't care. We were just lucky to be on holiday. Like we're not really complainers, because we're just lucky and fortunate to be able to experience this type of holiday. It's also a good thing to think about as well, if you'd rather be near the buffet, for example, or if you'd rather be near something that's maybe at the back of the ship, go for a suite that's at the back, because there'll be a lot of walking, as we knew from being at the front of the ship for our suite. And then my dad and my brother's cabin, their balcony cabin, was at the aft, right at the back. So we were walking for a long time. We got some good exercise in, but it was a long walk to the back of the ship, and that's not even their biggest ship. If we had that same issue on like Iona or Arvia, God, we would have been dying by the time we got to the back of the ship. And also the Epicurean is usually at the front of the ship I think on all ships. So our suite was right at the front. So when we went up to breakfast, those two mornings in the Epicurean, we just got in the lift, went up, and then we were there. There was no like walking around trying to find it. It was literally get out of our cabin, go to the lifts, go up, Epicurean's right there. So that was really good. So all in all, as an overview, our suite was amazing. There was nothing to really fault about the suite. We obviously mentioned the noises and the vibrations, but again, you're going to get that on a working ship. On a fully operational ship, there's going to be noise, so we were not bothered about that. But we just felt so lucky to be in a suite. We didn't take it for granted. We tried to do as much as we could in the suite, but there were some things that we didn't do. Like, for example, your butler can unpack your suitcases for you and then repack at the end. We didn't feel the need to ask Santosh to do that. I don't know who actually does request that, but I'd find that weird. Just a butler, just someone you've never met, just unpacking all of your like toiletries and like your underwear and stuff. I find that weird. I'm sure they've seen some things, but you're not seeing my things. So we had a fantastic time. Our suite just was like the icing on the cake. It was just beautiful. We hope to maybe one day do it again. I doubt it because it was quite pricey, but we just felt lucky that we could experience it for the first time. And yeah, we really made the most of it. Everything was spotless, everything was amazing. Santosh was amazing. The benefit you got was amazing. Like even just having breakfast somewhere else, just sort of going away from all the noise and just sitting in a nice quiet restaurant. And yeah, that was really amazing. I just felt so lucky. So we had an amazing time. Our suite was beautiful. If you can afford it, definitely do it. I couldn't think of a reason not to do it. It's definitely something to do if you can afford it. But all in all, we had a fantastic time, and I loved our suite and I loved our cruise. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.